The more available you are, the cheaper people treat you. That is one of the hardest truths most people spend years refusing to accept. They think kindness guarantees respect. They think instant replies create closeness. They think always being there makes them valuable. But often it does the opposite. It teaches people that your time is flexible, your energy is endless, and your presence can be assumed without cost. And once something is assumed long enough, it stops being appreciated. That is how many people quietly lose their weight in the world. Not through failure, not through weakness in the obvious sense, but through over-availability, through being too reachable, too explainable, too emotionally accessible, too easy to consume. They call it loyalty, they call it love, they call it being a good person. But underneath it, there is often something more fragile. The need to feel wanted, the fear of being misunderstood, the hope that if they give enough of themselves away, someone will finally decide they are worth keeping. The Stoics would see this clearly. If your peace depends on being chosen, then your peace does not belong to you. If your value rises and falls with attention, then your value is rented out to the public. And the public is unstable. One day it praises you. The next day it forgets you. One moment you feel important, the next you feel invisible. That is not self-worth. That is emotional outsourcing. There is another way to live. Not colder, not crueler, stronger, slower, more deliberate. A way of moving through the world where your time is not automatically available, your words are not cheaply spent, your emotions are not easily purchased, and your standards do not bend simply because someone else is disappointed. That is what it means to raise your value, not by pretending to be important, but by refusing to make yourself disposable. It starts with time. Most people do not realize how much of themselves they leak through small daily availability. The instant response, the rearranged schedule, the extra explanation, the polite conversation they do not want to be in, the emotional labor they keep offering to people who would never carry the same weight for them. These things feel small in isolation, but they accumulate, and over time they send a message. My life is open for interruption. That message is expensive, because if your life is open to everyone, it will eventually stop belonging to you. You become reactive instead of intentional. Your day gets shaped by requests instead of priorities. Your energy gets scattered into places that do not deserve it. And then you wonder why you feel irritated, underappreciated, vaguely empty. The problem is not just that people take too much. It is that you never made it costly enough to access you. Epictetus understood something most people still resist. To improve, you must be willing to be misunderstood. That means slower replies, shorter explanations, clearer no's. It means people may call you distant when you are simply becoming disciplined. They may call you cold when you stop performing emotional availability on demand. They may say you changed. Good, you were supposed to, because raising your value always disrupts the people who benefited from your discount. Then there are your words. This is where many people make themselves cheap without noticing. They explain too much, reveal too much, announce too much, narrate every plan before it is built, defend every choice before it is challenged, fill every silence because quiet makes them nervous. But words are not free. Every unnecessary word reduces the weight of the next one. The quiet person in the room often carries more gravity than the loud one. Not because silence is mystical, but because rarity sharpens attention. When you speak constantly, people adjust to your noise. When you speak selectively, they lean in. Scarcity creates focus. This is true with time, and it is true with language. A person who speaks less, but with intention, feels more grounded, more certain, more expensive. Seneca knew that bravery is not loud. Real strength does not need to narrate itself in real time. It does not need immediate understanding from everyone around it. It acts from conviction first and lets explanation become optional. Many people overshare because they confuse expression with authenticity. But undisciplined expression is not authenticity. It is exposure, and exposure without intention lowers your value. It reveals insecurity before it reveals character. Then there is your emotional reaction. This is where most people become cheapest of all. Someone shifts their tone and your whole mood changes. Someone pulls away and anxiety wakes up. Someone gives praise and suddenly you feel secure again. Someone withholds it and your confidence collapses. That is not emotional depth. That is emotional dependency. It means your inner world is too easy to influence. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if you are disturbed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. That line is power, because it reminds you that the insult is not your collapse. The delay is not your collapse. The withdrawal is not your collapse. What hurts you is the meaning you instantly attach to it. And if you can slow down that process, you regain control. This is why emotional steadiness feels expensive. It costs discipline. It costs self-observation. It costs the humility to ask, what inside me was touched so quickly? Pride, fear, insecurity, need. Carl Jung was right. What irritates you often reveals you. And the more honestly you face that, the harder you become to manipulate. Because when you know your triggers, you stop offering them to the world so freely. People can sense this shift. They sense when someone is not easily provoked, not easily impressed, not easily panicked, not easily seduced by approval. That steadiness changes your presence. You become heavier, less theatrical, more difficult to control. And control, in the Stoic sense, is value. Then comes the hardest part, walking away. Most people say they have standards, but their standards collapse the moment staying feels easier than leaving. They endure low offers, weak treatment, unclear respect, draining conversations, misaligned relationships, dead-end roles, all because uncertainty feels scarier than self-betrayal. But every time you stay where your standards are repeatedly violated, you teach yourself that comfort matters more than dignity. And that lesson poisons the self. To be able to walk away calmly is one of the clearest signs of raised value. Not with drama, not with revenge, just with stillness. You see the mismatch and you reduce access. You stop explaining. You stop negotiating downward. You stop trying to convince what has already shown you its level. That kind of detachment does not come from arrogance. It comes from internal supply. You are no longer starving for approval, so you can afford to leave what does not honor your standards. And this is where the real shift happens. You stop organizing your life around being accepted. You start organizing it around being aligned. Your time becomes guarded. Your speech becomes cleaner. Your reactions become slower. Your standards become visible through action, not declarations. And with that, something subtle changes in how the world meets you. People stop assuming. They start noticing. Not everyone will like it. That is irrelevant. Respect grows where over-availability ends. But none of this can be a tactic. That is the final truth. You cannot fake expensive energy while secretly begging to be chosen. It leaks in your tone, in your eyes, in how quickly you fold when distance appears. Real value is calm because it comes from within. It is not a performance of mystery. It is the result of inner order, of no longer measuring yourself by attention, of no longer flooding the world with access just to feel safe. So do not become cheap. Do not give your time to everyone. Do not spend your words without thought. Do not rent out your emotional state to every passing person. Do not stay where your standards keep getting negotiated downward. Raise your value quietly, by choosing slower responses, by protecting your schedule, by speaking with more intention, by reacting less, by walking away sooner, by respecting yourself before asking the world to. Because in the end, people do not treat you based only on what you say you are worth. They treat you based on what access to you costs. And when access costs nothing, respect rarely grows.